I call this my animal noise story, animal noises story. I'm teaching it like 30 years ago, at least. Um, uh, anyways, there was a few years there where teachers on the second floor, some of them would bring their kids they're having struggles with or who are being disrespectful. They'd rather than send them to the principal or vice principal's office, they'd send them to my classroom. And so this is one of those situations. I'm teaching away, and the door opens, and in walks this teacher with this student, and she's frustrated with him. And she goes, "He won't stop making animal noises." And she leaves, walks out the door with this kid standing there, and it's a seventh grade boy, and this is a ninth grade class. So already he's at a disadvantage, and the kids are all like, "Oh, what's Mr. Power going to do this time?" And it was always off the cuff, and usually it involved a little bit of embarrassment, not a lot, but just a little, and humor, and that usually did the trick. And so this kid's standing there, and I shift to my counselor mode. I fold my hands, and I am like, "Okay." I forget his name. Let's say his name's Bob. I go, "So Bob, what's the issue? Why are you here?" And the kids are snickering a little, and Bob says, "I don't know. I don't know why I'm here." And I'm like, "Well, your teacher said that you're making animal noises." And he just kind of shrugs, and I said, "Bob, I think I know what the issue is." And I go, "The issue is you want attention. That's what you're making animal noise because you want attention. You want people to look at you. So Bob, we're all here for you." And I kind of, wave at the class with my hands, and there was one empty seat. It was right in the front row, like the second desk over, front row, and I sit down. And I leave Bob standing there in the front of the class, and I said, "Bob, let's start off with something easy. How about a dog? Can you bark like a dog?" And he's just standing there, and I go, "Bob, you were just making animal noise in the other class. You must be really good at it. We'd like to be entertained. Bark like a dog." And he goes, "Woof, woof." And I was like, and I slam my hand on the desk, and I pull my left pant leg up, and I stick my leg up at him, and I said, "I want you to bark like a mean, scary dog. I'm going to close my eyes. I want you to scare me." And the class just bursts out laughing, and I stick my bare ankle up in the air, and Bob doesn't do anything. He doesn't know what to do with me, and I wait for like 10 seconds, nothing, and I put my foot down and pull my pant leg down. I go, "Bob, you are such a disappointment. That was easy." And I go, how about a cow? Can you do a cow?" And he just doesn't want to do it. I go, "Moo." So I start making animals. I go, "Here, how about an elephant?" Or a turkey. And class is laughing, and I go, "Okay, Bob, what's your favorite animal noise? Just give me your favorite." And he didn't have anything. And I slam my head. I go, "Bob, you give me a good animal noise, or I'm giving you a detention." And he kind of looks at me like, "What?" I go, "You heard me. Give me an animal noise. You're just over there near the class making animal noises. Now you got to have a few good ones. Give me a stinking animal noise. What's your favorite?" And he's like, he goes, "Can I sit down?" And I just stand up, and I go, "Can you be quiet?" And he's like, "Yes." I said, "Okay, sit down." And that was it. Teacher didn't have any problems with Bob after that. And, it was, I don't know, I came to find out that most kids, not all, but most kids, you give them what you want in excess, and the problem would be solved. And just a little bit of humor, a little bit of public, scrutiny and humiliation, and the problem would be solved most of the time. And not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so, anyways, that's my animal noise story.